Leyden Papyrus, an Egyptian magical book, edited by Griffith and Herbert Thompson. They shared in writing the preface. The manuscript dating from the 3rd century of the Common Era, which is here edited for the first time in a single whole, has been known to scholars for a long time. Its subject matter, magic and medicine, is not destitute of interest. It is closely connected with the Greek magical papyri from Egypt of the same period, but being written in Demotic, naturally does not reproduce the Greek hymns, which are so important a feature of those papyri. The influence of a purely Greek mythology also is here by comparison very slight, hardly greater than that of the Alexandrian Judaism, which has supplied a number of names of Hellenistic form to the Demotic magician. Mithraism has apparently contributed nothing at all. Christianity probably only a deformed reference to the Father in heaven. On the other hand, as might well have been expected, well, the Father in heaven motif, as one knows even from the Egyptian playlists, is, very far-reaching of either as a metaphor or taken literally by some people. On the other hand, as might have been expected, Egyptian mythology has an overwhelmingly strong position, whereas the Greek papyri scarcely go beyond Hermes, Anubis, and the Osiris legend. So, Gahotda, Genpu, and Yasir, the Demotic magician, inserts Khans, Amun, and many other Egyptian entities. So, Khunsu, Yemen, also, whereas the former assume a knowledge of the modus operandi in divination by lamp and bowl, the latter describes it in great detail. The papyrus is especially interesting for the language in which it was written. It was probably the latest Egyptian manuscript which we possess written in the Demotic script, and it presents us with the form of the language as written, almost as spoken, by those that were not Christian at the time, when the Greek alphabet was being adopted by the Christians. It must not be forgotten, too, that this is the document which contributed, perhaps more than any other, to the decipherment of the Demotic, partially through its numerous Greek glosses. We have therefore thought that a complete edition, with a special reference to its philological importance, would be useful. The vocabulary is extensive. Compromising about 1,000 words. The present volume containing the introduction, the transliteration, translation, and notes will be followed by a complete glossary with separate indexes of Greek words, invocation names, names of animals, plants, minerals, and a list of glosses, besides a chapter dealing with the principal grammatical forms met with in the manuscript and a hand copy of the text. The photographic reproduction by Hess of the pages in the British Museum and Lehmann's facsimile of those at Leyden will, of course, preserve their independent value for reference, as, for instance, in judging the condition of the manuscript and the precise forms of the signs in particular passages. There is considerable inconsistency in the spelling of the words in the papyrus itself, so much having been rendered more or less conventionally, while fresh light is thrown daily on the intricacies of Demotic. It's probable that there are good many inconsistencies in our transliterations, translations, and notes, in spite of the watchfulness of the excellent reader of the Clarendon Press. Those, however, have dealt with the subject at all will not judge these too hardly. In conclusion, we have to record our gratitude first to our predecessors in publication and decipherment of the papyri, to Revens, Lehmann's, and Hess, to Brugsch, Maspero, Revelout, W. Max Muller, but for those whose various contributions, our task would have been infinitely more laborious, even in the present advanced state of the study. And secondly, to the authorities of the Egyptian Department in the British Museum and of the Rijksmuseum in Leyden, for the courtesy in affording every faculty for studying the original manuscript, and more especially to Dr. Boesser of the Leyden Museum for much kindness and assistance. And further, not to be, it would have been nice if they included the manuscript, although they do include some of the Greek text. Shema, peace be upon you.